Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the channel. If you have been here before, or welcome if it is your first time visiting. So we learned this week that ex-police officer Matthew Farwell is being held responsible in the demise of Sandra Birchmore. Matthew was one of the officers that Sandra was involved with and was the one who was allegedly the father of Sandra's unborn child. And according to the Department of Internal Affairs, Farwell staged the scene after having fatally ended the life of Sandra Birchmore and her unborn child, and his unborn child. And I am absolutely thrilled that someone is being held accountable, responsible. Someone is going to be facing the hands of justice. Because the Birchmore case was one of those that absolutely just broke my heart in two. As an empath, some of these cases are just so hard for me to separate from. And I always try to come into these readings without my ego, without my opinions, leaving that to the side. But Sandra's case was one of those that really was so difficult for me to do that, because every card I got in those readings pointed at the guilt of that officer and or others that were implicated. So we're going to take a quick look at what potentially is behind that or lies ahead or whatnot. And we're going to be using the Tarot of Mystical Moments for Sandra's portion of the reading. In today's video, I also want to take a quick look at the civil case that the O'Keefe family has brought against Karen Reed and two of the restaurant or bar establishments that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed visited on the evening that John lost his life. And guys, as I said in my community wall post, are we at all surprised by any of this as far as John O'Keefe's family is concerned? If I'm not mistaken, friends, I heard something to the effect of Paul O'Keefe, while exiting the courtroom on the day that the mistrial was declared, he said something along the lines of, "I'm not done with you," to Karen Reed. And right at that moment, I have to tell you, I'm feeling that the wheels were already in motion. It was already in the works, this civil lawsuit. So we're going to take a quick look at that as well today with the help of the Star Tarot and see what is up with that. Guys, I just want to jump in here quick and tell you how sorry I am that I have not been able as of yet to respond to your comments on my videos. Things have just been super hectic, but I will get to you just as soon as possible. Please know that I appreciate each and every one of you who takes the time to comment, and it means so much to me from the bottom of my heart. I thank you. All right, but first things first, Sandra. So let's have a look. And I'm going to hopefully try to keep these brief, guys, because I've been super busy with work and everything like that. And YouTube is not my paying job. So I have to sort of fit it in when I can. There are ways you can help support this channel. You can, of course, just like it, share it, leave a comment. I also have super thanks and things like that enabled if you were feeling that way, but of course, no obligation. Okay, guys, so we've got 4 cards here coming out with reference to what all is happening right now behind this arrest with Officer Farwell. And the first card up, guys, is the Justice card. Yep, justice is coming for you, Matthew. It's on its way. So look out below. look out below. And you can see in this card that Lady Justice is sitting tall on top of this building. And she's wielding that mighty sword. And she is ready to come down on whoever has stepped out of line in such an egregious way. And I find it so interesting that this is the first card out, because the universe is primed and ready, as is Sandra in her energy right now. And then we have the Four of Swords. Okay, the Four of Swords talking to being able to rest now. And I feel as though I'm in Sandra's energy at this moment. I feel as though this is the universe's way of telling us that at long last, Sandra and her family and her loved ones can take a moment to breathe and give their worried minds a bit of a respite, because they have not done so. None of the members of her family, her friends, the people who loved Sandra, have had a moment's peace since someone out there determined that allegedly she unalived herself. Again, guys, if you are wondering why I use certain terminology, it is because YouTube will hide the video if I say the real words. But ever since that false narrative was concocted, and ever since, of course, the loss of Sandra and her baby, who she was so excited about, guys, ever since this tragic loss occurred, there has been no rest for her family, friends, and loved ones. And now they are resting for this moment on the fact that justice is on its way. Okay, and then we have the Eight of Pentacles. So this is the work being done. The die has been cast. And I'm feeling as though the attorneys that are going to be prosecuting this officer are carefully drawing up their case, because more than anything, they want justice for that young woman and her baby. And I feel as though this particular team that is going to be working on behalf of the Birchmore family and Sandra, I'm hearing they want to leave no stone unturned. They do not want to leave any room for potential reasonable doubt to be raised. Sandra was nowhere near thinking about ending her own life. In fact, she was rejoicing about the impending birth of her child. She was thrilled. And in her excitement, Sandra was hoping that the father of her child was going to join her heart, was going to be aligned with her in her excitement, waiting for the birth of their child. And never did she ever imagine that he would be the one to not only take that life from her and end her life so savagely, so viciously, but to maniacally stage the room. Sandra could never have imagined that at all. I'm going to pull one more card from this deck and see what the final message is that either Sandra or the universe wants to deliver with reference to Sandra Birchmore's justice. We have the Seven of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Eight of Cups. The Seven of Swords talking about deception. Of course, what would any trial be or any case be without deception? Because when you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, most people think that that is just a bunch of blather. They don't bother to really pay attention to those words. So, what we have up ahead is going to be a whole bunch of nonsense. We're going to have some lies being told, some deception at play. The Ace of Swords. We have some new information that's going to be gleaned. And new information, I feel, is going to only help to put the nail in the coffin for dear Mr. Ex-Officer Farwell. But there are going to be revelations, I'm told. Revelations that we haven't as of yet even heard with reference to Sandra's case. And finally, the Eight of Cups. So this is that energy of walking away, moving toward a new reality. And I feel like for the family and the loved ones of Sandra Birchmore, they are ready. They are ready to be able to rest, as I said right here, and walk away. Not that they will ever forget, but they want to walk away from that pain and strife of justice just not being anywhere to be seen. So they are ready to walk toward a new reality wherein their hearts will heal. So these are the messages for Sandra Birchmore, and I am so thrilled with these latest updates with respect to Ex-Officer Farwell being named as the person who took her life, because hopefully, justice awaits. Okay, so I'm going to clear the deck, and we're going to move on to do a very quick reading about the O'Keefe family and what's going on with them, because, guys, look, we knew it. When Paul O'Keefe made that snide little comment to Karen Reed, he already knew. He already knew that regardless of the outcome of her trial, that they were going to hit her with a civil case. They already knew it. It was in the works, I guarantee it. It was absolutely 100% in the works. All right, you can't convince me otherwise. And he was just like so smug about it too. You know, he has that smug attitude. And listen, you know, I try my best, again, to not form opinions one way or the other. But we all know at this point in time where my feelings lie with respect to this whole Karen Reed situation. You guys must know by now that, interesting, the eight of wands with that McAlbert 8 energy, right? It's still swirling, guys. It is still swirling, guys. Oh my goodness, still swirling. And, you know, I think at this point it's safe to say that, yeah, I believe Karen Reed is being framed, or they're trying their best to just hang something on her that she didn't do. Now, I do find it telling that from what I've heard, some of the reasons behind their bringing this against her is because they feel that she overindulged, that she was perhaps drunk, driving drunk or under the influence, and that, you know, she caused this injury because she didn't know what she was doing. She was impaired. This is basically, in a gist, what I derived from the little bits and pieces I heard of what was contained within their case or whatnot. And I feel as though that ties in, guys, to one of my most recent readings with reference to the O'Keefe family, and also to that lesser charge where the jurors were hung. Because what I'm getting here is that there was a sense from the jurors, as we spoke about earlier, but also from the O'Keefe family, that Karen Reed, had she not drank or consumed all that she allegedly did, even though the prosecution's witnesses more or less said, no, she didn't drink that much. She wasn't drinking that much. So this is interesting. This is all going to be really interesting. But they are leaning into this. The O'Keefe family is leaning into this, okay? And they're also, from what I'm seeing here, leaning into the McAlbert 8, that energy of the McAlbert 8. So I'm hearing that this case that they're bringing now, this suit against Karen Reed and the two establishments, is something that the McAlbert 8 knows about. And not only do they know about it, it was like the O'Keefe family like talked it over with Brian Albert and potentially Higgins and McCabe and all those players. So they were completely aware of what was going on. And they were like, yeah, go for it. Go for it. Okay, go for it. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so if I'm reading the other energy here, the Ace of Swords. So the O'Keefe family, and I was actually really surprised that John's dad was named in this, because I was really getting the impression all along that he was still like the holdout in the family. And I'm not entirely convinced right now that he is going about this with his whole heart and soul. I think he is somewhat being coerced a bit. But anyway, we will maybe save that for another day. However, they want this because they feel as though Karen was at the wheel. She was at the wheel. Therefore, she was or should have been in control of that situation. And they want to cut through everything else. They want to cut through all of the, in their opinion, all of the stories or claims that the defense made of this conspiracy and things of that nature. They don't believe it. At least Paul doesn't. And Peggy doesn't, okay? And they're like, hey, we're gonna take this giant sword here, the sword of justice, and we're just going to smash right through that whole thing. We're just going to destroy that in our own way. Because even though the trial ended in a hung jury, we know that, and this is them speaking, we know that Karen was behind the wheel. We know that she was responsible. We know that the fates were in her hands and hers alone. Now, the reason I feel as though they are also including the establishments, the restaurants or bars in this, is because I believe they have been advised to do so. Because from a legal standpoint, and I know nothing about the law, but I believe that an attorney probably advised them that that was the smartest way to proceed. So they just, added that for good measure. But trust me when I tell you, in their heart of hearts, at the core, they want Karen held responsible. They don't even care. They don't really care whether or not the waterfall or, McCarthy's or something. They don't even care necessarily what all those places had to do with it. Because their feelings toward Karen, because their disdain toward her has grown. It has grown into a life of its own with this Empress card here. It has become the thing that drives them every day. It has become its own life form. And so that's why I keep hearing like they are only just adding more to their case by holding or attempting to hold the establishments responsible. Because all they really want is to get to her, is to get to Karen Reed, the Empress, for whom all of this trouble was born at her hands, at her wheel. Okay, at her doing, according to them, allegedly, in my opinion. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for this video. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Friends, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you have that notification bell clicked and set to all so you don't miss anything that is coming up ahead on the channel. I truly appreciate each and every one of you.